dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yup, what's good, original crew? It's your boy DJ Nuclear, your girl
Sierra Nicole.
back on the channel. We got a Mr. Ballen that was requested, so we got it for y'all, man. We got police prank criminal on camera. Shout out to Ananda Lee. Hopefully I pronounce it correctly. If I don't, let me know in the comments. Next video I'll try to correct it. So I pronounce it.
Ananda Lee.
Hopefully. I told you, give us a week. We got you. So with that being said, man, y'all know, Ballen got a lot of content, man. So feel free, you know what I'm saying, drop them in the comments, and if we end up doing it, we'll shout you out in the video. Your request, you get the gist.
Yeah.
So with that being said, man, make sure y'all check out the links in the description box
Down below.
You already know where to go, man. You want the first part, you have to do it. Check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's video,
like it with a thumbs up.
Delay.
It was not. Okay.
Yes. With that being said, man, let's go. Let's check this one out. Let's see what it's about. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
In 2009, the popular true crime TV show Cops just happened to be in South Florida filming when a truly diabolical crime was committed there. And so cops captured this crime on camera. But someone in their footage was hiding something. And when you know what that something was, it becomes very obvious when you watch. But before we get into today's story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place, because that's all we do, and we upload once or twice every week. So if that's of interest to you, please ask the like button if you can borrow their car for the week, and then when they say yes, spend that week driving around.
You want to borrow my car?
You are crazy.
Typically, people ask to borrow sugar, but you want to borrow... Hell no!
Borrow their car for the week, and then when they say yes, spend that week driving around picking up as much roadkill as possible and packing it into their trunk. Picking up as much roadkill as you possibly can and pack it into their back seat in their trunk, and then return the car. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's story. Michael DiPolito grew up in a very rough neighborhood in South Philadelphia where violence, drugs, and prostitution were just normal parts of everyday life. At a young age, like his parents, Michael became an alcoholic. He also developed a very serious drug addiction that he paid for by selling drugs. Michael would eventually drop out of high school, and not long after that, he became homeless and was living out on the streets, sleeping in abandoned buildings at night to stay warm. In 1993, when Michael was still in South Philadelphia, he was arrested for the first time. He was charged with possession of an unknown drug as well as intent to distribute this unknown drug. Court records don't specify what drug this was. However, Michael just did not show up for court, and so a warrant was put out for his arrest. Michael would somehow manage to evade police capture, and by 1997, he had fled South Philly altogether and landed in South Florida in a town called Boca Raton. Shortly after arriving there, Michael was arrested for a second time, this time for offering an undercover police officer $15 in exchange for sex. Michael would plead guilty to soliciting prostitution, however, he would just get released. A year after the prostitution arrest, Michael was sued by a former girlfriend named Karen Tan, who claimed he...
Why he get extradited? Because he had a warrant from Philly already. So if he get arrested, shouldn't that have popped up in y'all system?
You know how stuff get like...
Nah. Unless the database thing, because it was... I don't know how like them databases were in the late... But this was just like 97, 98.
But still.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, normally you get arrested, they look you up in the database. You pop out. You got a warrant for your arrest in South Philly. Because he fled South Philly.
Right.
Because he had a warrant.
Because he had, yeah.
So why y'all ain't?
Good question.
Somebody dropped the ball.
Was the father of her son, and so he...
Sorry.
Her girlfriend named Karen Tan, who claimed he was the father of her son, and so he owed her child support. And Karen had a DNA test that backed up this claim. However, Michael, again, would just not show up for court, and before long, Karen just gave up and dropped the lawsuit. Michael was likely very relieved when this happened, because at the time, he was making almost no money through a temp agency. And so after this lawsuit gets dropped, Michael decides, I need to go out and make some real money. And somehow, on his quest to find a more lucrative opportunity, Michael was introduced to associates of the Bonanno family. And the Bonanno family is one of the infamous 5 families that dominates organized crime across the United States. They are literally the Italian mafia. And after the mafia met Michael, they took a liking to him, and they did offer him a more lucrative, albeit illegal, opportunity. They gave him a role inside one of their so-called boiler rooms. A boiler room is not literally a boiler room. Instead, it's a group of fraudsters that use high-pressure sales tactics to steal money from unsuspecting victims. Typically, the way it works is the fraudster will cold call someone, and they will tell them that they have this great get-rich-quick scheme, but you gotta give me your money right now if you want to be a part of it. And so when the victim says, okay, that sounds great, and they wire the money along, the fraudster just steals their money. Michael, who was very charismatic and a natural salesman, got really good at tricking people into giving him their money. And so eventually, Michael realized he could make a lot more money if he started his own boiler room, where his commission could be much higher on the money he stole. And so fairly abruptly, he left the mafia's boiler room. We don't really know how they reacted to this. And Michael would set up not 1, but 2 boiler room scams of his own in South Florida. And by 2002, he had pocketed $155,000 of stolen money. However, he had spent virtually all of it on fancy hotels and cars and phone sex. But the good times would not last for Michael, because in 2002, the police caught on to Michael's boiler room scams.
Bro, why you... this motherfucker, you know, you blowing money on and getting caught up in the wrong thing. Why you keep paying for sex, bro? You got money now. You could easily go out here to a bar, look like you got a little money. Back then, $150,000, you know what I'm saying, was a lot of money.
You want to get him somebody real.
You know what I'm saying? Get you some real cutty. You two, get you some real cutty, man. Get you a little cutty buddy.
Like, for real, though.
Shocking, it was a cutty lad. But for real, Michael.
But no,
Michael,
for real, though.
Michael, why you out here paying for phone sex?
Hey.
To listen to sex from prostitutes instead of just going to the bar, you know what I'm saying, pay for a couple drinks, you know what I'm saying, you got the charisma. So if you could steal money,
he just didn't want
that.
If
you got a talk game. If you could steal some money, you could steal some.
Maybe because he lives such this.
You could be able to, you know what I'm saying, run that mouth and pick up.
But that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he can't pick up. I'm saying he may not want that, like that stability. Like some people, like they.
There ain't no stability if you just going out here to get some cutty.
Oh, you said not settled down, like actually let's just go get some real.
Still get some real cutty. What you on having phone sex?
What else would he do with when he go to the?
You ain't gotta pay for no prostitute. You just spend $20 on a shot and use your mouthpiece that you can get all the money out of. You can
you go give me some.
You can talk a girl out her drawers, bro. You can talk a girl out her drawers, bro.
So you saying just go?
If you look like you got some money, you buy her a little shot or something, and you got some good mouthpiece. You know what I'm saying? You can talk a girl out her drawers.
Okay, you don't have to say it 4 or 5 times.
You know that.
I don't know.
Hotels and cars and phone sex. But the good times would not last for Michael, because in 2002, the police caught on to Michael's boiler room scams and they raided them, and Michael was arrested for a third time, except this time he would go to court, he would stand trial, and he would be sentenced to 2 years in prison, 28 years of probation, and he would be ordered to pay back the $155,000 that he stole. Michael would only serve 7 months of his 2-year jail sentence, but that was more than enough to leave a huge impact on him. Michael hated prison. He hated every second of it. And so during those long sleepless nights that he was laying awake in his cell, he made a promise to himself that when he got out, when he was released, he would never, ever come back. And so in 2003, when he was released, he immediately entered a sobriety program. He also started going to the gym every morning, and he began studying for his GED, which is a high school equivalency test because he didn't get his high school diploma. After he successfully earned his GED a couple of months later, he would also start a legal business. It was a digital marketing firm that was called Mad Money Inc. Over the next several years, Michael would do his very best to stay on the straight and narrow and not get in trouble. And for the most part, he did that. By 2008, Michael was still sober, despite a few setbacks, and he was still very focused on his physical fitness and his health, and his business, Mad Money, was doing quite well, earning him nearly $100,000 a year. But his love life had become a bit messy. Michael had gotten married back in 2007 to his longtime girlfriend named Maria Luongo, who had stood by him when he went to jail. But that year, in 2008, when Michael was 38 years old, he cheated on Maria with a 26-year-old real estate agent named Dalia Mohammed, who he met at a Starbucks. And instead of their affair being a quick fling, as they likely both intended it to be, Michael and Dalia quickly fell in love. And when that happened, Michael went to his wife Maria and he told her, and then he divorced her. Just 3 days after the divorce finalized, Michael and Dalia went to the courthouse and they got married. The newlyweds would move into a brand new condo that Michael had purchased for them in Boynton Beach, which is a beautiful town in South Florida. And for a time, their life was perfect. They knew it was a little outrageous the way they had met each other and how quickly they had fallen for each other, but they didn't care. They got along great and they were excited about the future. But their perfect life would not last long. On the evening of March 12th, 2009, so only about a month after they had gotten married, Michael and Dalia were at home in their condo when they heard a knock on the front door. And so Michael went to the door, he opened it up, and much to his surprise, standing on the other side was his probation officer, and behind him was a whole bunch of police officers. And before Michael could even ask what was going on, the probation officer told Michael that they had received an anonymous call tipping them off that Michael was selling steroids and ecstasy pills and other drugs out of his condo. Michael would tell the probation officer that there was no way that was true. He is not selling any drugs, he's sober, he's not doing that. And so eventually Michael just stepped aside and said, "Please come in, search my condo. I have nothing to hide." And so sure enough, the police, they would go into his condo, they would search it, but they wouldn't find anything and they would leave. And so after...
Who you think caught the police on?
Maria, baby.
His ex.
And so how long had they been married? Because they was together.
For a couple months. Oh, you talking about Dalia?
Maria.
Oh, you talking about Maria?
The ex.
They weren't married that long.
But was they married? They was married when he went to.
No, they were dating when he went to prison.
So he had a girlfriend this whole time.
We don't know how long they were dated. He just said she basically held him down while he was locked up. You know what I'm saying?
It could have been like a month before he got locked up or something.
Yeah, she was just the one that held him down. Yeah. Put money on the books. Got his phone set from. Sent him some pictures.
Yeah.
Had pictures on the wall.
Police had gone, Michael and Dalia found themselves just standing in their condo, completely dumbfounded. But instead of trying to get to the bottom of it right then and there about who had called and why, they just decided it was best for them to just leave their condo for the night and go stay at a nice hotel. And so they packed up some bags, they left their condo, which was a total mess from the police search, and they went to the hotel and they had a nice night together. The next morning, when they got up and headed down to the parking lot, they saw up ahead, standing around Michael's car, was Michael's probation officer as well as several other police officers. And And so Michael and Dalia are looking at each other like, what is this again? And so they hustle on over to Michael's car. And before they can even plead their innocence to Michael's probation officer, he stops Michael and just says, look, we got another anonymous call, this time telling us that you are selling drugs out of your vehicle. And so we need to search it. And so Michael is just totally beside.
But at this point, though, you got to also realize, P.O., that isn't it possible that somebody can literally plant something in my car?
Right,
because you're getting false information. Yeah, you're getting false calls, false information. You're pulling up on me. You know, clean. Even if you do find something, it's a possibility that it can be planted.
I'm wondering who is calling and making these calls, though.
Or is it Dalia? I'm just playing. I don't know at this point.
Yeah.
That you are selling drugs out of your vehicle, and so we need to search it. And so Michael is just totally beside himself, but he says, look, go ahead, search it. There's nothing in the car. And so sure enough, the police would open up his car, they'd rip it apart, but again, they wouldn't find anything. Over the next couple of weeks, the only thing Michael and Dalia ever wanted to talk about was what the heck was going on. Who is placing these anonymous calls claiming that Michael was selling drugs out of the condo and out of the car? It just didn't add up. They wanted to believe that this was all just one big mistake, but in the back of both of their minds, they were thinking about Michael's very checkered past and his previous dealings with the mafia and with people he had clearly ripped off. And so maybe there was someone in his past that was looking to get back at Michael and maybe get him arrested and sent back to jail. Fast forward to March 29th, so 17 days after that first raid on their condo, and that night, Michael and Dalia had been eating dinner at a restaurant, and when they left and headed out to the parking lot, once again, standing around Michael's car were several police officers clearly waiting for him to return. And so without even needing to ask why they were there, Michael and Dalia, they go over to them and they just start pleading with them to understand that this is a setup. We do not have drugs in this car. We don't know what's going on here. Please, you gotta understand that someone's doing this to us. But this time, when they searched his car, they would find something. After searching Michael's car, the police would find a small bag of cocaine stuck inside of a cigarette carton tucked underneath his spare tire in the trunk. And when Michael saw them pull the cocaine out, he began to cry because he knew, even though it was not his and he had not put it there, that he was going to jail because he was going to get arrested for possession and he was on probation and he was screwed. And so he just begins crying and pleading with police to understand that the cocaine was not his. He swears it's not his. Meanwhile, Dalia, she's looking at the drugs and now she's second guessing herself. Is Michael lying? Is he actually selling drugs? And he's been lying to me too? But when she sees her husband crying hysterically and looking so sincere, she believes that he's got to be telling the truth. And so,
man, if he really is selling drugs, though,
you think I'm just gonna have a little bit tucked back here in the spare tire
in the car?
And the cigarette car? Like, come on, man.
That don't make.
I'm out here really.
If you're gonna find something, you're gonna find more than a little bag. There's somebody who's bought some. Hey, you got some crack. You got some cocaine.
And y'all just checked my stuff, less than 24 hours ago?
You got some good shit.
Or however long.
Okay. How am I supposed to put this? I'm going to pop the trunk one day. And all the places in the spare tire. Didn't y'all just check that?
Like, y'all just checked my car.
If y'all just checked my car, why would I put it back in my car? Because I know y'all, I'm hot right now. Anybody hot, and they know the police coming, and they getting rid of every fucking thing. They ain't touching it for a while. Yeah. It's time to lay low.
It's time to lay low.
If y'all ain't finding it the first time, y'all most definitely ain't finna find it now. Because I'm laying low.
Right. Common sense.
Soon she was standing beside Michael and pleading with police as well to let them go, that this was totally just a setup. And amazingly, these police officers who were aware of the previous raids on Michael and Dalia's property, they told them, look, we do think this is pretty suspicious that somebody keeps calling in about you selling drugs and now magically the drugs are in your car. And so what we're going to do is we're going to confiscate this cocaine. We're not going to arrest you. Instead, go home, be safe, call us if you see anything strange, you hear anything strange. strange, and we're going to begin investigating to figure out who is making all of these calls. And so Michael and Dalia were totally relieved to hear this, but at the same time, they were kind of terrified because clearly whoever was looking to get Michael in trouble now was prepared to break into his property in order to do it. And so what was stopping them from breaking into their condo and planting drugs in there as well? And so after these police officers left, Michael and Dalia hopped in the car, they sped back to their condo, and they went inside and they searched it top to bottom, looking for any sign that anyone had recently been in there or if there were drugs or anything illegal inside of their condo. And after looking and finding nothing, they just locked their doors, shut their windows, shut the blinds, and just prayed that the police would be able to quickly identify who was doing this to them and make them stop. But over the next few months, the police would not figure out who this anonymous caller was because the caller stopped calling. And so for a little while, Michael and Dalia were convinced that the whole ordeal was over and done with, and they basically returned to their normal lives. But on August 5th, 2009, roughly 4 months after the cocaine was found in Michael's car, the anonymous caller would come back with a vengeance. On that morning at around 5:45 a.m., Dalia left the condo, leaving Michael in bed, and she headed out to the local gym to get a workout in. Around 6:30 in the morning, she stepped off the treadmill and she looked at her phone and she saw she had a missed call from a number she didn't recognize, and this number had left her a voicemail. And so she calls her voicemail, she puts it to her ear, and as she's listening, her heart starts to race because it was a Boynton Beach detective telling her there had been some sort of incident at her condo and she needed to come back right away. Terrified, Dalia grabbed her things and she ran out of the gym, she got in her car, and she called this number back. And when the detective picked up, she tried to get more information from him about what this incident was, what happened. And the detective would only say that it involved her husband, and he would explain everything when she came back. And so in a total state of shock, Dalia turned on her car and she sped out of the parking lot and she headed back towards her condo. And when she turned onto her street and saw her condo, she hit the brakes and just stared. In front of her condo were all these police cars with their lights on, and police officers were walking around, and yellow crime scene tape was lining the outside of her property. And inside of the taped off area, there were all these crime scene photographers taking pictures of her condo. And so as Dalia is sitting in her car at the top of the street, just staring at this crazy scene she's seeing, one of the Boynton Beach police officers sees her and walks up, and after confirming that she was Dalia DiPolito, he said to her, leave your car here and come with me. And so Dalia, who knows obviously something bad has happened, but really doesn't know the extent of it, she puts her car in park, she gets out, and she begins walking with this police officer over towards this cluster of 3 people that are standing right in front of her property. And it would turn out one of them was the detective who had called her on the phone. And so Dalia is led over, and that detective, as soon as he sees Dalia, he walks over to her and he says to her very matter-of-factly that someone had called about a disturbance in their condo and shots were fired, and unfortunately her husband Michael was dead. Dalia, who was totally hysterical, was gently led away.
All right, never mind. Little buddy, stop it.
Her husband, Michael, was dead. Dalia, who was totally hysterical, was gently led away from her condo into a nearby police car, and they would drive her to the police station where they would sit her down and begin asking her questions about her husband. And they would say to her, look, I know you just found this out, but we gotta figure out what could have happened because a killer is on the loose. We need to find this person and stop them. And so at first, the conversation was really just Dalia crying and the detective kind of calming her down. But eventually, she would tell the detective about the anonymous caller who kept calling the police and claiming Michael was selling drugs, and how she and Michael suspected that, probably the anonymous caller was connected to someone from his past, maybe someone from the mafia, or maybe one of the victims of his boiler room scam, or it could be any number of other people that Michael had done wrong in the past. And so the detective, he's taking diligent notes and he's listening to Dalia, and then at some point in a break in the conversation, he says to Dalia, okay, it's time to get serious. I need to know if you know this guy. And so Dalia, she was kind of looking down and she looks up, confused what he's talking about. And then the door opens and this huge guy in handcuffs walks into the room.
Come here. Bring this guy in here. Get over here. Get over here. You know who this guy is?
No,
You've never seen him before.
I've never seen him before. Ever.
Do you know her?
Put your head up and look at her.
Put your head up.
I've never seen him.
What were you doing coming out of her house? Get him out of here.
It would turn out Dalia was lying. She did know who that guy was. Almost immediately,
I'm so invested.
Yeah. What you doing this for?
I was like, no, when I was pointing, when he was like, because he got his head down, he can't even make like eye contact with her. I was like, somebody lying. One of them lying. That's why I was like,
No, you good. You good.
am I okay?
Yeah, you good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like, somebody lying. Somebody know somebody. Like, ain't like, cause how you get in there and you like the timing. It's the timing for me. Like, my thing is, do you normally go work out this early in the morning? You know, what's the coincidence that soon you leave, something happens, maybe within like an hour. I don't know how long you was at the gym for. But you know what I'm saying?
Detectives don't want to just pull somebody in while you're investigating. Come in here.
That don't know.
They don't do that.
I don't know.
I ain't never been in interrogation.
But most of the stuff that I watch, because I watch a lot of interrogations and stuff like that, I haven't seen it from the ones I watch.
Yeah,
like,
typically they like to keep y'all apart.
You know what I'm saying?
Because they can kind of throw off the investigation.
So maybe what you said earlier, who making these calls and stuff, who has access to be like, but then
who had access to the car to even get in the trunk?
True, but my thing is, if you know that nothing is in the house, you know nothing that's in the car, why would you keep calling the police saying there's something? Maybe
she always had something planned and she just like, y'all gotta find it.
And they never found. Maybe so. We gonna see, child.
Mm-hmm.
it would turn out Dalia was lying. She did know who that guy was. Almost immediately after marrying Michael 6 months earlier, she had stolen $200,000 from him, but apparently that wasn't enough for her. She needed the rest of Michael's money as well as his condo. And so she had been the anonymous caller. She was the one calling the police and tipping them off that Michael was selling drugs out of the condo and out of his car. She was the one who planted the cocaine in the back of his car because she wanted him to get arrested because he was on probation and he would go back to jail for a really long time. But when her efforts failed and Michael did not get arrested and so did not go back to jail, Dalia moved on to Plan B. She reached out to one of her ex-boyfriends and she asked him, hey, do you know any hitmen that could murder my husband? And the ex-boyfriend at first didn't think she was serious, but when she kept asking him about it and began offering to pay and really was making it clear that she wasn't joking around, the ex-boyfriend basically told her, no, I don't know any hitmen. And then he, the ex-boyfriend, called the Boynton Beach Police Department and told them about Dalia and her plan to hire a hitman to kill Michael. And so when the Boynton Beach Police Department found out about this plot, they immediately had one of their undercover agents pose as a hitman and set up a meeting with Dalia. And so the undercover agent was that huge guy in handcuffs that was led into the room with Dalia. And so Dalia goes to meet the undercover agent, the fake hitman. She gets into his car and there's a hidden camera in the back seat that's filming her the whole time. And she's caught on camera saying she wants to kill her husband. She gives money to the undercover agent. And then as she's about to get out, the agent turns to her and he says, are you sure you want to do this? Because as soon as you leave, it's done. I am going to kill Michael and you can't stop it. This is Dalia.
Bro, you can't be that damn dumb.
Child.
Or can you? Well, this happens a lot.
It happens.
It happens a lot.
It happens. That is crazy.
So did they possibly stage his death?
Because that's what's the title?
I forgot the title. Oh, Police Prank.
Police Prank. So was that all staged to catch her?
Well, yeah, he's attempted murder.
You know what I'm saying?
What is
it?
Murder for hire.
Murder for hire, yeah.
Conspiracy to commit murder. Theft with the money. With the money situation. So. And conspiracy for a criminal act of stealing more money and property.
Yeah, I don't know what all they. But
you can run up all those because she got hella conspiracy charges.
Right, and sorry to Maria because I was like, baby Maria doing the calls. The ex-wife.
Well, that's typical to assume that.
just because of how they divorced and
but
stuff.
I did say maybe Dalia.
You did say that, and I'm like, you never know. Could
and
be.
I was like, you know, me, I don't be wanting to. Now I don't be wanting to.
No, trust the child.
Reaction.
There's no changing, no, there's no, like, I'm determined already. I'm positive, like, 5,000% sure, like, no, when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Like, as soon as you told me, listen, I need the money from you, I went, I grabbed it right away, like, we were good to go. Like, with me, you're not going to have a problem, you're not going to have an issue.
And so the Boynton Beach Police Department, they have all this information about what Dalia thinks is going to happen, and they decide they can use this information to set her up in the most elaborate way possible. And it just so happened the very popular true crime TV show, Cops, was filming in the area. And so the Boynton Beach Police Department allowed Cops to be a part of this elaborate setup. So they got to film everything that happened. So, on the morning of August 5th, Dalia got up and left her condo at 5:45 a.m. and headed to the gym, knowing, at least in her mind, that the hitman would be coming to her condo right after her, breaking in and shooting her husband twice in the head, because that was the plan they had come up with that was captured on film. And so after the police see her leave at 5:45 a.m., because they were monitoring the condo, they rushed in, they knocked on the door, and they got Michael to come downstairs. And he had no idea his wife was trying to kill him. And so he comes to the door, he's totally confused, but he goes with them and he's kind of ushered off to the police station. And then for about the next hour, the police set up a very convincing fake crime scene right out front of the condo. And then once it was all set up, that detective called Dalia and left her a voicemail saying that, you know, there's been this incident, you need to come back to your condo. And then a couple of minutes later, when Dalia called them back and said, okay, I'm coming back to the condo now, that's when the TV crews for the Cops TV show, they kind of set up in the bushes and got...
Police officers be on some slick ass, bruh. Hey, they slick. They slick. You know what I'm saying? Like, who would have ever...
But child, this for definitely
this
a good
is,
cause.
And I ain't gonna hold you. A lot of times, when you go to get a hitman, the hitman be like, they'll never find out. You know, I'll never. This is between us two. Man, hitman be the biggest snitch. Soon they get caught. I tell you, because they at the end of the day, they care more about themselves than your ass.
Right.
You was just a dollar to them. They're gonna be like, she called me. Can we work up a deal? I'll drop the name. Right. Bro, you stupid. And then why would you already did? Why would you even reach out to your ex to get a hitman? My thing is, how you called me for a hitman? Have you ever called somebody to get a hitman for me?
No, let me go ahead because I already didn't trust you.
That's when the TV crews for the Cops TV show, they kind of set up in the bushes and got ready to film what happened next.
Listen, we had a report of a disturbance at your house, and there were shots fired. Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed. No. He's been killed, man. I'm sorry.
No, he's not.
Listen.
No.
Try to calm down. Listen, right now what we need to get you to the station. We need to get you to our police station. I can't let you in, man. We have to do our job.
After the...
She want to see it because she want to
make sure
confirm. Oh, she
want to fake tears and that fake
I ain't see no tears drop.
Well, I ain't see no tears either. Well, that fake crying and that fake shit.
I could act like that.
I want to see you. Like, girl, bye. Do it again, babe.
I can't because God.
That's sad. I could never. That's sad.
Bruh. And the whole time I'm laughing because I know the truth behind it.
Yeah, that's
and
the only reason
I'm
now.
like, you a motherfucker.
What you said?
We need to get you to our police station. I can't let you in, man. We have to do our job.
After the fake hitman was pulled out of the interrogation room after Dalia had said, oh, I don't know who he is, the detective just stared at her in total silence for a minute. And then he broke the news that he totally knew all about her murder plot and that she was going to jail.
You're going to jail today for solicitation of murder. You're under arrest. That's an undercover police officer. Everything has been recorded. You were photographed in the convertible when you sat in his car in the front of CVS. What do you want to do? What do you want to do here?
I didn't do
Dalia?
anything.
Listen to me.
I didn't do anything.
You're going to
I
jail.
didn't do anything. Please, I didn't do anything.
Grandma.
Tell me you didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything.
You're going to jail today. As soon as I'm done, they're going to come in here and handcuff you and take you to the Palm Beach County Jail, book you for solicitation of first-degree murder on your husband. Your husband is well and alive.
Thank God.
Oh, yeah, thank God.
This bitch said
Her
thank.
whole demeanor changed that fast. Thank
Not
God.
no thank, child.
Thank you. I didn't do anything. Your husband loved me. Thank
Oh,
God.
thank God.
I didn't do anything.
Girl,
Bruh,
if you
I ain't gonna
know-
hold you. Your lawyer pissed at you. He like, bitch, I ain't even got no
They ain't got nothing. They got, baby, we got you on camera. We got everything.
I can't even go get no plea deal for your ass, bro. Just cop out. just
Like,
cop out.
what?
You got
I
too
want
much
to know how
evidence.
much time she got.
All right. I'm sorry, pausing.
Sorry.
No, he doesn't want to see you.
I so wanted to see him.
He doesn't want to see you.
Please.
After Dalia was arrested, she was still sitting in that interrogation room when the Boynton Beach Police Department made a special point of walking Dalia's husband, Michael, past the open door so she could see him. Here's her reaction.
Oh my God.
He's alive.
Come here, please. Come here. Mike, come here. Come here, please. Come here. Why not? I didn't do anything to you. Mike, come here, please. Come here.
Okay. Like, we'll take her back to Brooklyn, please.
Dalia was initially sentenced to 20 years in prison for what she had done, but after a retrial because of jury bias, her sentence was reduced to 16 years. So that's going to do it. If you got something out of today's episode and you haven't done this already, please ask the like button.
You know, I did get some at least.
What you get out of it?
You know, somebody, I did get some out of this episode, you know?
What you got?
Not to trust these hoes.
I'm sorry. You like, you be busted. Joe, I gotta bust me boy.
I'm just playing. I ain't playing, but I'm playing. But that's crazy. That's
Very much so.
This was good, but that's crazy. I never understood why people do that. Like, you already living a good life. Now you want to be greedy. You want it all. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you living a good life. He got you up in the
Got
fancy
you a
hotels,
condo.
fancy restaurants. Got you a condo.
You
You
got
living
a
a good
business
life.
that's
You-
thriving right
that's
now.
thriving.
And,
Don't sound like you
I ain't gonna
working.
hold you. Another reason why I kept saying, I was Dalia. After the police said we finna investigate and see who's been calling,
It stopped.
it stopped. She
It
was
stopped.
like, "Oh, I can't call again.
You know something that right.
I can't call. I ain't want to say
completely
nothing because you know what I'm saying. People be like,
No, you talk. No, you say what you gotta say. Cause me, I'm like in the beginning, I was thinking, well, maybe it was the ex-wife because
I
of
was
how
too,
y'all
though.
divorced, and then you
how
quickly,
the divorce happened?
how the divorce
Yeah,
happened, and then
yeah,
you
yeah,
quickly
yeah.
like a few days, few days, 3 days after the divorce was final or something like that.
Yeah, 3 days
you
after.
marry her or whatever.
But she
the
only
case.
was 9 times out of 10. Always
Mhm.
that chick that you cheat on your wife with
Yep.
ain't with you because she wants you. She with you because what you can provide for
her.
or what you have to offer.
Facts.
She don't really care about you. That
Facts.
first wife, she held you down while you was
Facts.
in the clank of my G.
And you do that again. Sorry to Maria, child. Because I really was thinking like, well, maybe her.
Some,
but then,
some female petty like that. They like, I'm gonna call the police on you.
you know
You
what I'm
going
saying?
back to jail. I held you down. Let's see if
And you
this
do
bitch
this
gonna
to me.
hold you
You know
down.
what I'm saying? But
She wasn't never a lawyer in the first. I'm glad he didn't die.
what you saying?
so
I'm glad
glad.
there wasn't a real like
Hitman. Cause that happens.
It happens.
Real hitmen do happen.
It
now.
happens, and you would be gone in the wind.
I don't even know why.
Unless she cracked and say like, unless they suspected that it was her, she cracked and be like, well, it was this person that I hired. Other than that,
They still 9 times out of 10
it wasn't know nothing.
they wouldn't find out about the hitman.
Because I would have gave you a fake. Yeah, it probably would have been like a
burner phone,
fake name, all of that. So yeah,
You wouldn't have no
true.
leads
Wouldn't have had nothing.
for the hitman.
I'm so glad she was called. I'm like, what?
That was good though. That was good. That was good by the cops.
What you said?
They did the damn job right there.
It was perfect.
They did the damn thing. For sure.
For sure, though.
But you can't be that damn dumb and stupid. You gotta choose one. You gotta be dumb, but don't be that damn dumb and stupid. You know what I'm saying?
And honestly, kudos to the ex-boyfriend.
Kudos.
For reaching out to the police.
Because he ain't have to say nothing.
Because he ain't have to say no. He could have been like, I don't know nobody, and went on about his day.
Facts.
And she would have found somebody that would have found you somebody, or would have just be like, I'll do it for the money, because people do crazy stuff for money.
True. Could have found a little crackhead. It's mine. Well, South Florida.
But,
you know what I'm saying? You got a crackhead to do some things for you tell a crackhead, hey, I got 10,000.
Or just somebody that's down bad that needs the money.
Like, oh, you got 10,000. All I gotta do with that, boom.
Yeah,
they gonna leave all type of DNA. They just gonna do it for the money.
Facts. I'm just so glad she decided to reach out to the ex-boyfriend, and he was like, I have to say something. Like, this not right. You know what I'm saying?
Because it was so suspicious of who has access, and then where you put it in the car. Didn't make no damn sense. And then it didn't make sense that you put it in the car. Or possibly did she think he was back to selling drugs because he's making so much money? She probably was like, he gotta be doing something else.
Maybe, or she just be like, he has to have something like on him other than you know what I'm saying?
He has
like they're gonna find
past.
something.
Yeah.
Like something. She was
and
just
when she couldn't find
something.
like he was walking a clean, straight, narrow.
And where you go get it from? Who you go buy it from?
It's South Florida.
I mean, I know. I'm just like, you went through
South
all
Florida.
of that.
South Florida,
like,
baby.
you go through all of that. Like,
Trust me.
For what?
Trust and believe. I ain't gonna hold you. I can't go find none where we stay at, but if I go back home, if I wanted some coke, I can find some coke easy. Easy. Trust and believe.
You be wanting some?
Hell no. I'm just saying I know people.
Playing.
I know people.
Just playing.
I know. Used to sell.
You
told you
my
homeboy brother
used to sell. You gotta tell them folks business.
I ain't telling like that nigga. They did it. They got arrested. They got arrest record for selling cocaine. So what the fuck?
I'm just playing.
You gonna look them up? Like,
but yeah,
when I say I can find out if I want it, I can get. Hey, I need a baggie of coke. I don't care how you get it, just get it to me.
But you know, when they actually found it in a trunk. Like,
where
actually
they found
it and where they found it.
And how
I was like, what you said,
yeah,
they gotta be. Like, she has to be the one making the calls, doing stuff. Like, girl, why?
And she tried to lay low for like, tried to see if the police gonna find something out.
Yeah.
And when they didn't find nothing out, she was like, okay. I gotta get back to it. I can't stand this fool. I gotta get, I just want him for his money. I don't really like him.
Did you really?
Yeah, that's only 6 months. They was only married 6 months.
True.
So she really didn't like him.
And really, how long were you plotting? You know
Probably
what I'm saying?
before.
Soon y'all got married or beforehand?
Beforehand. She probably told him to divorce the wife. To go ahead and let her know. Because, come on now, a lot of men, they might have an affair, but they don't just go and tell the wife, I'm having an affair. The wife finds out and they get caught. And then they go through a divorce. They don't just go, hey, Maria, I'm having a divorce. I'm having an affair and I want a divorce. No, she probably told him 9 times out of 10. Yeah. You need to let your wife know we can be together. Mm-hmm. And that's how she was going to be able to understand how much
to get
money.
Everything and understand everything. Like,
how she steal $200,000 from you and you ain't even find out?
Right?
He got some money.
I was like, baby,
Dude,
you need the money. What
Show
you
me
said?
the money.
To not be like missing come on now, not notice it.
Michael, put me on your game, man. I'm trying to come up like that too. I'm trying to lose $200,000, not see that bitch too.
What, bruh?
You know how rich you is with that shit. But hey, man, for real, man. Make sure y'all spam us up in the comments, y'all. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts and opinions about it down below,
Please
man.
do.
Shout out to Ananda Lee again for a good recommendation.
Yeah,
man.
this was good.
But as always, I do go by the name DJ Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
Yep.
Hey.
You did it.
No.
No.
Okay, let's try it again.
I do go by the name DJ Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
Had
to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my folks. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money low, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.